Hello friends, Megha here. Welcome back to my channel. Let's code them up. From the last two videos, we have been working on functions in Swift. In the first video, we learned how to define and call the functions, and in the second, we focused on the parameters. You can find the link to both videos in the description box below. In this video, we will look into the values a function can return. If you recall the last two videos, we have used an example of factorial function. For this video also, we will be using the same factorial function as an example. When we take a closer look at this function, we see that this function returns factorial variable. What is this factorial variable? This factorial variable stores the factorial of the number which we pass as the parameter. And this factorial is of the type integer. Plus, the main point to note here is that we have used int as the return type in the function definition, which you can see in the first line here. When we call this function for a factorial of 7, we get the output as 5040, which is an integer. So, this function has a return type. It returns just one value, that is factorial. But returning a value is not mandatory for a function. We will also have functions which are having no return values. So, how those functions look like? For the example of a function with no return value, we will be removing the return type of this factorial function. Let's delete this int from the first line. But as soon as we remove this int, we get an error which says unexpected non-void return value in void function. This actually means that we are returning a value with a function which has no return value. Void means that the function is not going to have a return value. And when we delete this return statement, the error vanishes. Now this factorial function is complete, and we are calling this factorial function here in the print statement. The output is just the empty parenthesis and no 5040 for the factorial of number 7. Why? Well, come back to the function. It does not return a value and also have no print statement to print the value of factorial variable. So what we can do is copy this print statement inside and replace the function call with factorial variable and call this function. Now we can again see the output of 5070. This was a function with no return value, and before this one we saw the function with one return value. But what should we do if we want to return more than one value? In Swift, we can do that by using tuples as return value. And in these tuples, we specify the multiple return types. Not clear? I know, it will be through this example. We will first write a function to return the quotient and remainder of dividing number a by number b, and then understand it line by line. Func divide followed by parameters num a and num b of integer type, followed by return values quotient and remainder as a tuple with integer as return type for both. Inside the curly braces, we write return num a divided by num b and num a percentage num b. Next, let's save the output into a constant result as result equal to divide num a colon 9 num b colon 2. And print quotient is result dot quotient and remainder is result dot remainder. We get the output as 4 and 1. Any guesses what's going on here? We have a function divide with two input parameters num a and num b and the return values quotient and remainder, which are enclosed in parentheses to form a tuple. Next, we return num a by num b to get the quotient and num a percentage num b to get the remainder. We can directly print the result by calling the function in a print statement. But if we want to access both the results separately, we store them in a constant and then call them by their names as we did in this print statement using result.quotient and result.remainder. Now we know how to make functions which have one return value, no return value, and also multiple return values. In the next video, we will move on to the argument labels. Till then, watch this video, and if you have any questions, do leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.